Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends Spider-Man No Way Home Lizard. Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends Spider-Man No Way Home Lizard. Now remember, this is an Amazon exclusive, both UK and US. So if you want this, get yourself on Amazon. This one shipped from the US, but the UK version is due any time now. And he is, of course, the last villain we need to complete the Rose Gallery from Spider-Man No Way Home, as we recently also got Electro. And I was waiting for both of these to arrive so I could open them together to complete the villains from Spider-Man No Way Home. So I should already have a review for Electro up on the channel right now. I even have my very own unmasked Jamie Foxx head as well. So go and check out the review to find out how I got that. Today, we are of course opening Lizard and taking a look at him, as I'm very curious of the updates on this guy. He does seem pinless and the head sculpts do look very nice. So the wait is over 3.5 years, and we have completed the team of villains. So here we have Lizard on the front with those accessories, not many, both a picture on the side and the back, as well as a write-up that says Dr. Connors is back in his reptilian form, ready to take on Spider-Man. Short and sweet, so without further ado, let's get him open. Here we have Dr. Curt Connors, aka the Lizard, out of the packaging with his few accessories on the table. Just a set of interchangeable hands and then an alternative sort of neutral expression as well. So let me move them out of the way. The tail was also a separate piece in the box, but I've went ahead and plugged that in straight away, and it sort of can be used as a kickstand. As you can see, Lizard is standing on his tiptoes just like a dinosaur would, I suppose, or a lizard. So let me get the tape measure out, because he's pretty tall. So he is just over, or just about actually, 7 3/4 inches, under 8 inches in height. However, depending on how you pose him, you will manipulate that height, of course, and he will get into some really good crouching lizard-like poses as well with the articulation. And again, you can use the tail as a kickstand, or you can get it up, and he will still balance, I hope. There you go, like so. So yeah, I like the look of this guy, and I like his sort of watermelon type head as well. I'll show you what I mean when we zoom in, but let me just straighten him up first and foremost, get him looking at the camera, and let's do exactly that. So here we have what will likely be my preferred head sculpt for Lizard, as it has a lot more character with that screaming, roaring expression. And also the digital face printing tech works really well on his scales. As I said, it has that sort of watermelon pattern on the top of his head with the light green and dark green. But the eyes are a nice brown as well. And then his teeth are on show with his big open jaw and his gums inside. So there's no hinge on the jaw. So it is sort of stuck in that one expression, but it works really well for its purpose. And it's on the dumb bed as well, so you're going to get a little bit of tilt on this head as well as like regular back and forth. But if I zoom out just for a moment, you'll notice that the neck piece is also like a separate segmented piece that will give you even more articulation, just like the Sauron Build-A-Figure. So you can get back and forth there, utilize that of the head, you can get him looking down, or utilize it all, and you can get him looking up, maybe jumping and leaning and bouncing at somebody. But this isn't the only expression we get. If you want a more neutral look, we also have a fully closed mouth, a more stoic expression, if you will. He looks smug, doesn't he? He sort of looks pleased with himself. He's very happy that he has transformed himself into this lizard creature. But you can sort of see his lips there as well, sculpted very nicely. You can see it there on the side of his face a little bit better with the nose, the same sort of pattern with that watermelon type look at the top as well, with all the texture and scales on the head as well. So yeah, you cannot fault this figure for not being completely covered in texture. Very lizard-like, but yeah, both head sculpts are really nice. So it's nice to have those two options. So you can have your stoic Curt Connors expression, or you can have your angry lizard look where he can be lunging at somebody ready for attack. Let me know your favorite head sculpt in the comments below. So let's continue to take a look at the rest of Lizard. Like I mentioned at the start, it's a little bit of old, a little bit of new. So in regards to the deco, his sort of chest area all the way down to his crotch is in this sort of lighter lighter beige colour, but you can still see all the dotty and speckled sort of a scaly skin of a lizard. Around onto the back, it's a bit more darker, but again, if I zoom in, you've still got all that scale sculpted on there throughout the figure, but not as much detail in regards to the paint, even all the way down on the actual tail as well. Spin it around to the front, there's more colour in the actual legs going down either side as well, and then on the underside of the tail you get more beige all the way to the bottom. So yeah, all the deco is mainly on the front of the figure, which is probably preferred for posing. You get a little bit more on the neck as well, all the way up to the top of the head, but as I mentioned, the whole body is completely covered in this scale and texture, and you'll notice double jointed pinless knees, double jointed pinless elbows, so they have been upgraded for that sense. So aesthetically, it does look nice. I'm not a fan of the big gap for the tail there, but again, it is there to allow you to articulate it any way you want. And I like the fact that you can use it as a kickstand because he is a pretty big character, isn't he? So in regards to articulation, I've showed you the heads on a dumbbell, and then you've got this separate segmented element for his neck, which also is sort of on a dumbbell. So you do get a little bit of movement and wiggle on top of there. His arms will go past 90. There's a bicep swivel and a double jointed pinless elbow, which I've showed you. Both of his hands, or all of his hands, have a hinge in as well. You've got the diaphragm ball joint there, so that's where you're going to get your wiggle and your swivel, and a little bit of forward and back. So yeah, there's a bit of articulation there for sure. The legs will go out that far. There is a thigh cut there hidden within the figure, as well as a really nice double jointed pinless knee. Like, you can't be mad at that. You're going to be able to get him into some great poses. And then he just has this hinge down here for his sort of lizard toes, but it also has the rocker on as well. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the tail doesn't really have bendy wire, at least I don't think so. It looks like it's just going to stay in that one position, but you get the up and down kickstand style. So he's going to be able to get in some great sort of lunging poses, like I mentioned. So he's going to look great on the shelf, and he is a character that we absolutely needed as well. He comes with a couple interchangeable hands. So first, you can see that he's just got a fist hand for this one, and then this one is sort of like just a growly clawed hand, but we do get another set. And granted, the left one does look very similar. It's the same sort of like claw, but the hands are maybe a little bit more extended. But you'll notice on this hand, he has 4 fingers and a thumb, because this is the actual arm of Curt Connors. If you remember, the reason that Curt Connors even injected himself with this serum anyway is so he could grow himself an extra arm like reptiles do. So you can see his right arm is his reptile arm, and that's why when the hand regenerates, it only regenerates with 3 fingers and a thumb rather than the full 5. So yeah, the left hand is his human hand, and the right hand is his reptile grown arm. So that's a very nice detail that they've continued on the figure as well. So I like when they keep the detail from the actual film in the actual figure. So yeah, there's your interchangeable hands, and probably much better for a jumping, leaping, growling, attacking pose as well. And as always, I'm very self-aware that nobody comes to Dan Who for posing action figures. However, I did just want to remind you once again that you do not need to use the tail as a kickstand. The articulation and the balance in this figure is actually really good, and you can get him into some great poses without the tail needing to be on the floor. So yeah, you can absolutely get that tail up proudly and still get him into some great lunging, fighting, attacking poses for sure. So yeah, just it's all about balance, isn't it? But yeah, the articulation on this guy is really nice. Nice paint, nice texture. I really like the head sculpts. This is a winner. Moving into comparisons. Now, usually my first comparison would always be with the previous release of this character within the Marvel Legends line. However, I don't have, and I have never had the MCU Lizard. That's why I'm grateful for this re-release. I have never had the Diamond Select version either, that I know a lot of people use. I do, however, have the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Sauron that did reuse some elements of that MCU Lizard, but I'm happy to report this new Lizard has a lot more new than reuse. It seems like it is just the sort of upper and lower torso areas which are reuse, and then everything surrounding it is brand new. Of course, with Sauron, you had the single jointed elbows because he has the wings. You've got the pins in the elbows and knees. This new Lizard, he had the pinless arms and legs. Also, the texturing and scaling on both of these figures is completely different as well, which shows you they are newly tooled. Sauron standing on his feet, where the Lizard is standing on his lizard tippy toes. The tails are different. The neck pieces are different. That neck piece may be reused from the previous MCU lizard, but again, I don't have it. So yeah, a lot more newness on this lizard than I first thought, and for the better as well. It just feels sturdier and nicer. The pinless joints are definitely aesthetically more pleasing, as we always know. There's more paint detail on this guy as well. So yeah, maybe they reused tool parts of this lizard for an update on Sauron, as I know Savage Land at the moment is getting a lot of hype. But for now, the lizard is a very worthy update of the character that I think people will appreciate. And of course, Lizard was the very first villain that Andrew Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man came up against. So here we have Peter, number 3, both versions. We've got the 3-pack version and then the maskless version that we got in the No Way Home wave next to Lizard. And as you can see, they look great together. Even if you just want a representation of The Amazing Spider-Man in your collection, then you can get these two. They look really nice together. The scale works great too. And then here we have Peter 1 and 2. Some more civilian characters from the end of No Way Home. It is MJ and Ned Leeds. Some more No Way Home characters. We've got Doctor Strange and Happy Hogan. Here we have Peter Parker and Matt Murdock. Here we have some of his accompanying villains from No Way Home. We have Sandman and Electro. And if you want to know how I got that unmasked Jamie Foxx head sculpt for my Marvel Legends Electro, then you need to go and check out my Electro review on the channel right now. I tell you exactly how you can get your own. And finally, this is what we have been waiting over 3.5 years to complete for our Marvel Legends collection. All of the villains from Spider-Man No Way Home. We've got Sandman, Electro, Lizard, Green Goblin, and Doc Ock, and they look so good together. Definitely need to find these a prime spot on the display. Really happy to finally complete this rogues gallery for my Marvel Legends collection. Let me know in the comments below which is your favorite villain, and do you have all of these for your collection now? The wait is over. And of course, I had to see how they look up against all 3 of the Spider-Men as well. As I said, this is prime real estate in a display, in a collection. So much nostalgia in this picture, and hopefully we get to see them again in the coming years. We will see. And for a comic comparison, here we have the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Lizard, which is a lot more monstrous than the recent release single-packed Lizard, which is more based off his first appearance. This is a lot bigger, bulkier, and very sought after these days. And a lot of people genuinely ask me, can you mix and match your comic figures with your MCU figures? Now, personally, I don't like mixing the lines. However, everyone's collections are unique. You create your rules, display any way you like. Sometimes I think it's fair game to use an MCU figure as a placeholder in a comic display until you can inevitably switch it out. And this lizard is still a big lizard creature. I guess it would fill a gap on a shelf, but for me it's too live action like to mix in with the comic displays. But again, it's your display. Do what you wish. Both of these look great. And just to test that theory, I thought I'd throw on the table a couple of comic villains to see how he compares. So we've got the Build-A-Figure Rhino and also the Rhino Build-A-Figure Wave Craven there. So both of these figures are like 10 years old at this point. Both of those have got re-releases since, but they're embedded in the collection. So how does he compare? Can this lizard work as a comic lizard in your display? You can decide. As always, let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. We have Frogman and Tigra. And of course, last but never least, we've got Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Spider-Man No Way Home Lizard. Now, I am just one of many collectors that have been waiting patiently for over 3.5 years since we initially saw Spider-Man No Way Home in the theatres, coming home and wanting these plastic representations of that movie in our collection, and that time is now. And we have done it so beautifully and accurately with the Marvel Legends line. Both the Spider-Men and the villains got their fair due, and I now have a whole shelf dedicated to that movie in my collection. Honestly, really happy to have it, and this lizard was genuinely the last piece to that puzzle. So very curious to see if these characters turn up again at Secret Wars or at some point in the future of the MCU. Or even if they don't, we will always have No Way Home, and we will always have that represented now in physical form for our collection. Honestly, this lizard is very impressive as a figure itself. So even if you're just a fan of the character or Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man sort of stories, then you need to get this guy in your collection. If you like it, let me know in the comments below. But well. As always, if you like Marvel Legends, you're in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlist, but most importantly, please, 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 hit that subscribe button, hit all of the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much, much appreciated. You will genuinely find reviews for all of the villains on a playlist, so just look out for that. I'll put it in the description below. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on X at Dan Who Reviews, and I will of course see you on the next one.